is it nice, Sydney, maybe that you give a very short introduction on Climate Cafe, what we're doing for 5 years, an introduction, and then Laura can get ready for her presentation.
Of course, yeah, exactly. 5 years already. 5-year Climate Cafe, Green Blue. I started it together with Flogus Borgert. When we met each other, we hit it off on our shared interest on biofuels and blue-green infrastructure. Those were the first topics we did with students. Yeah, you got the T-shirt on. I don't have it today.
Not yet.
You have the new one already.
This is a new.
Right.
Also for everybody who participates in the Climate Cafe Montpellier, nature-based.
Yeah.
NbS fan, you're on ClimateScan, where we will mapping. Yeah, continue. Sorry.
So that's an overlap with the topic nature-based, where we're talking about this in this Climate Cafe for 5 years already, and we handle a lot of different topics. From biofuels, but also to topics we are going to talk about this year, to like floating solar panels. Infiltrating roads, more social climate adaptive programs, and sometimes we go into really detailed stuff like technical stuff like sedimentation progresses, and other times we're talking about plants and animals and how that makes a living area more beautiful. And today we also have a perfect topic, I would say, for our Climate Cafe Green Blue. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because NbS in health, right? We had Rodi Blom before. We also had some cities that we traveled to virtually, of course, like Barcelona, which is also a city in the project. But maybe I should stop talking and maybe give the floor to Laura, because we're here because of a project. And what project is that, Laura? And you have a great presentation. I already saw some slides, so the stakes are high now.
Thanks for that.
No pressure.
So the project is biodiversity. Let me share my screen with the presentation.
Yes.
Can you all see it?
And now in presenting mode. Yeah.
So, okay, great. So I just wanted to introduce you a little bit into the biodiversity project, which some of you may not be familiar with. The consortium of this project has been talking to Floris and Thomas about having a collaboration with ClimateScan and the biodiversity project, because we're both interested in nature-based solutions, but just from a bit of a different perspective. But it was a very nice nice combination, I think, of interests here. So let me just explain a bit what the biodiversity project is about, and then what we are interested in. So the general topic is the impact of urban greening on vectors and vector-borne diseases. So I will explain to you a bit more about this. First, the people and the partners involved. So this is a pretty big project involving partners from different countries, so including the Netherlands, France, Spain, and Morocco. And we are interested in greening cities as nature-based solution and their impact on vector and vector-borne disease risks. So I'm going to explain a bit to you about what vectors are, because maybe not everyone is familiar with that, and vector-borne disease risks, and what this has to do with the nature-based solutions that we're also talking about today. So here you can see the consortium of people that are involved in this project. This is not everyone, but it's part of the consortium that joined for the kickoff meeting in Wageningen. This was in May this year, so it's we started relatively recently, and we're now in the process of developing protocols and field protocols to design the data collection for next year. So a bit about arthropod vectors. So what are vectors? So vectors are arthropods, so insects or spiders, ticks that can transmit diseases from one host to another. So these hosts can be humans, and they can also be other mammals or birds. And of course, this brings a lot of risks for diseases, especially when it comes to human health risks. This is something that is very relevant and important to keep under control. So in our project, for the vectors, we're mainly interested in mosquitoes and sandflies. And we're interested also in disease transmission. So there's a lot of viruses and parasites that can be transmitted by mosquitoes as well as sandflies. So we're also interested in mapping, the diseases that all these vectors in cities are carrying with them. So you may think, what do arthropod vectors have to do with nature-based solutions? Well, mosquitoes, for example, they like urban areas quite a lot. They tend to be a bit warmer than rural surroundings, so the developmental rates may speed up a bit. There's a lot of breeding opportunities. Mosquitoes breed in still standing water. So in a city, there's quite some opportunities for this. So mosquitoes are definitely present in cities, and what happens when you change the city landscape, for example, by applying nature-based solutions in your city, then you change the urban habitat. And this can, of course, change the dynamics of the vectors, where they want to be, how many there are, which species there are present, and it may also change the diseases that they carry. So here you can see a city center landscape, and here you can see an urban park, and you can imagine that these greening areas create a lot of heterogeneity in the city landscape that can change the biology of these mosquitoes and sandflies. So the project aims in questions here are, is the impact of different levels of urban green and local urban context on vector biology. So this is something that we want to measure directly. We want to measure how many and which mosquitoes there are in cities and what the impact is of urban green on this. And then the other questions we want to predict from this data. So how will vector biology and vector-borne disease risk change in the future? And then also come up with recommendations. So how can we mitigate potential negative effects of urban green space? So how can we give recommendations to city planners to design our cities in such a way that these risks or negative effects will be limited? So there's a lot of stuff that we're interested in when it comes to vector biology. As I already mentioned, we're interested in sandflies and mosquitoes. We're interested in different life cycles of these vectors, so the egg laying, as well as the larval stages and the adult stages, so the ones that fly around. The phenology, so we're going to measure across the year to see the populations of vectors coming and going. And we want to look at these vectors in a food web context, so look at their pathogens, but also the predators of the vector, so for example birds that eat the mosquitoes, as well as host availability. And then for urban green, that's where it comes to the nature-based solutions side of our project. So for now, we're mostly interested in urban green, but we're basically interested in all kinds of nature-based solutions related to vegetation and water that can change the urban habitat in a way that it changes the biology of the vectors. And then we're also placing this in a local urban context. So we're going to look at the microclimates and city maintenance, what the effects is of private and public spaces. So lots of things that we're interested in here. So to tell you a bit about how we're going to measure all this. So we're now setting up a harmonized sampling protocol to make sure that because in the beginning I told you we have all these different cities that we want to measure this, and we want to measure this in the same way so that we can actually compare the effects of urban greening on the vectors across all these cities. So we have 4 different countries, and in each country we will study 1 or 2 cities. In France, of course, the city will be Montpellier, not coincidentally. And then in each of these cities, we will look at, well, I now say 9, but this is still under discussion, a number of sites per city, sites that are, so I'm going to give an example of a Dutch city, which is Nijmegen. We're going to select urban green areas that differ in size, and there we're going to put up mosquito traps and in the southern countries also sandfly traps to see which species and how many we catch throughout the year. So we're going to look at adults. We're going to sample mosquito larvae. I'm going to put these pictures next to it. So for adults, we're going to look at both mosquitoes and sandflies. We're going to sample the larvae of mosquitoes. We're going to sample eggs of mosquitoes, and we're going to also do eDNA air sampling to look at this food web context. So what hosts are available for the vectors, which predators are there that can eat the vectors, because you can imagine that the urban green not only changes the dynamics of the mosquitoes, but it can also change the dynamics of their predators. So if, for example, there's more predators in the urban green spaces, that might actually limit again the populations of the vectors. And like I mentioned before, we're also interested in the pathogens that these vectors carry. So we're gonna look in the adults if we can see with DNA techniques, if we can see any viruses that they are carrying around. Yeah, so we're gonna do this data collection next year from January to December. Most likely throughout the whole year, so that we can really see the dynamics of the populations coming and going throughout the season. Adult sampling we're gonna probably do a lot more frequently than the larval and egg sampling and eDNA sampling, just also because it's quite laborious to do all this work. And then we're gonna measure some extra variables to also place this in the larger context. So we're gonna, like I said, we are gonna sample the data at different green sites, but we want to know some more about these green sites. So what is the local habitat? How much vegetation is there? Which type of vegetation? How many trees versus herbaceous plants? We're gonna measure the microclimate, map management activities, and look also at the spatial connectivity between the urban green spaces, which might matter for the dispersal of the vectors across the green spaces. Yes, this was it. I hope it was clear, because I realize it's a quite diverse audience. So I hope it was clear to everyone, but I'm happy to explain more if anyone has any questions.
Nice, thanks, Laura. Sydney has a question.
Yeah, because you chose the best, the most city as an example, but I was actually wondering what your contact persons are in this area. Do you have contact persons for the municipality already?
Well, I have to say this map was just an example with a few random points just in urban green spaces. So we haven't.
Okay, I was wondering how far you went in really. Okay, so this was an example. Well, if it becomes Nijmegen, then I'll probably hear about it, because we already did some eDNA sampling also on mosquitoes and other vector insects. So that would be nice to combine it. Yeah, no, great. That was my first question. Another one will pop up probably.
Another colleague of mine has also done some sampling in Nijmegen, so we got some contact persons also from him. But yeah, like it's just
probably we know that we know the same people via some people.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
great. Nice. Thanks.
First contacts made. That's great. And Nijmegen is the climate scan capital of climate scan. Yeah, so that's good. Yeah, Sander raised his hand.
Yeah, this was because indeed we did some work in Nijmegen before, so that we have sort of a list of contact persons. The focus was first on setting the protocol and we're now slowly moving towards actually contacting the relevant people and identifying all stakeholders. But yeah, it's good that the first connections are being made now. So great.
Then I have a follow-up question, which is more on the content. Like, how do you select which city you want to pursue?
Good question. For most countries, that was kind of predetermined, which was the city that the partner institute is based in. In the Netherlands, we're a bit more flexible. But there the choices are between Utrecht, Apeldoorn, and Nijmegen, also because we have previous experience there. We have been a bit contemplating a bit, like, is it nice to pick cities that are very similar in the urban green so that you can maybe more compare them, or is it actually cool to have some more extremes, like a very city that's very good at nature-based solutions like Nijmegen, and then maybe a much more gray city with less green. But yeah, I think it's either going to be Apeldoorn, Nijmegen, or Utrecht in the case of the Netherlands. And for the other ones, it's where the partner institutes are. So Montpellier, Barcelona, and then Casablanca and Rabat, both in Morocco. There they also had previous experience with sampling in those cities. So it's mostly practical choices in terms of the city choice.
Nice. Any more questions or remarks? Ilko?
Yes. First of all, thank you for this presentation. I liked it quite a lot. What I was wondering, the research methodology is quite clear to me. But what is not entirely clear to me is what sort of recommendations do you think you will, or are you trying to get in this project? I mean, really on the scale of if you're looking at nature-based solutions in the city, you should not do this, but you should do that. Or, I mean, what in general, what sort of recommendations do you hope to get?
Yeah, good question. That's also something that is, of course, quite far in the future, but good to think about in an early stage, because the sampling design that we are choosing is gonna have an effect on what kind of recommendations we can give. So for now, we're mostly, well, of course, you always want to do a lot, but then you also have to choose. For example, we would like to look at the effects of a lot of different nature-based solutions, but then when it comes to replication, we quickly figured, also because all the cities look so different and the nature-based solutions look different, that we wanted to focus on urban green in the sense of vegetation and look at the different areas of vegetation. So if you have a very large area versus a small area, how does that affect the vector populations, and also like I said, the connectivity between these spaces. So if we're going to measure data in this way, then we could, for example, give recommendations on, is it better to have one concentrated area with a very big park, or is it better to have small scattered parks across the city? And also because we're going to measure quite a lot of more detailed variables within these parks, so the presence of water bodies and things like this. We're also going to look at these water bodies and see where the mosquito larvae are. So also in terms of like how to manage the water in combination with the green, I think we're going to be able to give recommendations. But
like
sorry, my answer is still a bit vague.
Yeah, but I would say the spatial distribution is would be of interest to me as well. So how is it where can you find them and where not, and can you link that to local nature-based solutions?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Nice. Sander.
Yeah, maybe a small addition to it. And indeed, it's mostly what we think is that it will be related to sort of management of the environment. And Laura gave a few examples of these. The idea of the project is also, and that's built into the proposal, is that we will not collect all the data, draw conclusions, and drop it like that, and say like, this is what you have to do. There is there should be space later on to have initiatives like this, or also physical live meetings to get the different stakeholders together. Like, okay, now having this evidence or these data, what can we do, or what can we recommend together. So it's not unidirectional in that sense. And yeah, how and when that will happen, that's still also like into the planning, but it is incorporated into the proposal or into the project.
But I guess you will also involve those stakeholders quite early, right? I mean,
that's the idea.
I mean, not only
sure.
the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
May I ask, Ilko, what your background is?
It's nothing related to vector or vector-borne diseases. Actually, I have a background in civil engineering, hydraulics, morphology, river morphology, basically. Okay. Yeah, and now working mostly on climate adaptation measures. Yeah.
Super interesting.
From Hans in Groningen. And maybe on that note, another project started, just got granted 2 weeks ago, Climazo, with applied universities. Hans is one of them. Ilko is going to be the project leader. And they're also mapping nature-based solutions with ClimateScan and also showing what can be done with vector diseases, mostly mosquitoes. And those are the, looked it up, other cities. So that's very nice, not Apeldoorn, Utrecht of Nijmegen, but that will be Almere, Delft, Den Haag and Groningen. So also this would be great to work together. So this is already an introduction how we can combine maybe or compare methods. So
there are already links indeed together with Louis Krol. I know him from previous projects, but he's also involved, I understood. So we'll be in touch anyway, because we are seeing like, okay, where can we benefit from each other? So that's sort of guaranteed. Yeah, nice.
Good.
Perfect. Shall we, because as mentioned, the first step is to see what kind of nature-based solutions there are in cities. And we talked about ClimateScan, a big database, but one of the cities where it's not already a lot mapped would be Montpellier. Other cities like Barcelona, a bit more. We can tell more about it, but it would be nice to hear maybe something more about Montpellier. And I'm not sure.
Yes, we are here.
Yeah, all right, Florence, there you are. Yeah, sorry, I didn't see you. Yeah.
I don't know how we can manage. We have in the meeting, we have David Gomis from the Métropole of Montpellier, who is working with us on different projects. We have also Paul Taconnet, who is also a postdoc on another project, also on urban greening and possible urban greening and impact on vectors, one of the subject. So I don't know if you can present some map, Paul. I don't see you.
Yes, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Paul has prepared some map we have on Montpellier, some different sources of data, so he can show you some of the data.
That will be great.
Yes. So hello everyone. I'm Paul Taconnet, I'm postdoc. Let's say I haven't really prepared some maps, but I'm working on a project that aims at gathering a lot of data on the Montpellier territory, data related to environment and health. So it's building an open database of those data and visualization tools for this data, fair data, etc. So I have started this application. I can share maybe my screen.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this one, I guess. And maybe I can send you. Well, first I will show you the stuff, and then I will send you my I will send you the link. So do you see the map?
Yes, now we do. Yeah. Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah.
So this is all open, and well, I can send you right now on the chat the link. Okay. So here I have gathered. So those are mainly data from the Montpellier city, open data, the open data of Montpellier city, but they have only the data as shape files. So here I have put them on my app, and here I have, well, a few data sets. First one is here, the parks and the public gardens of Montpellier.
Nice.
So they're available here in gray. Sorry for the color. I can change it to green.
Yeah.
But you can navigate on the map, and I guess if you click, you get some information. You should get some information, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Might take a while. Yeah. Oh, but it's quite clear. There are already quite some polygons on the map, so that's very nice.
Yeah. So those are the public gardens in Montpellier. Another interesting data set is the small-scale vegetation data set here. So this data set was prepared with a very high resolution satellite data.
Yeah.
And you have, sorry, it's in French, but if you look at the legend here, you have many, sorry, I don't find the name, classification, basically. So you have trees, woods, here in yellow, it's grass. You can translate it to English. Okay, here you see it's very this data set is very fine scale data set on vegetation, actually.
Is it static? Oh, sorry, everybody, I'm Fred Simard. I'm also part of the Montpellier team. Is it, I mean, these maps are evolutive, or is it something that is sticked? I mean, in terms of the vegetation that you have, it's not the same from year to year. So is it updated regularly?
No, this one is static. It was created with satellite data from I don't remember exactly, but like 2 or 3 years ago. And no, it's not regularly updated, this one. But it's very the main advantage of this one is that it's very fine scale. Maybe another interesting one is the rivers of Montpellier here, cours d'eau de Montpellier. Well, no, not much to say. It's the rivers of Montpellier.
Yeah.
Maybe it's being slow because if you are all looking at the platform, it might slow. But if you look afterwards, one after each other, it will be faster, I guess.
Yeah.
So there might be good opportunity for you that you know what you are looking for in terms of blue and green crossing, let's say. So that might give you opportunities to identify some area where we should go in the field and document what is currently happening, because in the frame of the project we have identified several parks where we will be doing these measurements we were talking about earlier, but maybe this that does not correspond totally to what you refer to as a nature-based solution. Maybe there are other spots that you want to map. The opportunity we want to grab is that maybe David can expand on that, but the municipality of Montpellier is very eager to develop some ecological surroundings in the city, you know, so they have their own way of documenting these things, and we want this to be also kind of standardized by including that into the climate scan. So there are some very broad and maybe not very standard way of doing that we are doing it in Montpellier that might get standardized through implementing the climate scan on Montpellier.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah. This is already a great start, and I think from the map from Montpellier, but also I think Sander, Jeroen, Laura will have some locations that they're interested in, and then this is urban typologies, like
Yeah,
the
maybe
center.
that,
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was the last one I wanted to show you. Is the local climate zone. Maybe you know this because it's quite widely used. The legend is in English.
Nice, that's helpful.
Which is also good for you. And it's a kind of a standardized way to map land cover across many cities. So it might also be interesting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that this already helps targeting certain areas. What might be missing is because indeed what we're looking for, but it's also from the project. So it's a question to you all as project partners, what you would like to see. But the blue component, we see the rivers, but that's streaming water. Probably there are not a lot of mosquitoes, but mostly in these projects and nature-based solutions, we're looking for bioswales that maybe have water more than 7 days in them, so mosquitoes could breed, or rain gardens, or in a rainy period. Of course, it's a long time. It's dry in Montpellier. That's a bit different than in other countries, probably. But these small ponds, for example, that's not visible on the map. Maybe we have to look for that, of course, in the city. And maybe later Thomas found already some of them, so he can present that later. But maybe also for you guys, hearing Laura, the approach of the project, from this map, are there already interesting locations that you want to visit? Of course, parks with blue, I would say, or...
Maybe we should just mention, maybe, I don't know if you know that we had a PhD student, Colombine, who did her PhD on this specific topic, so urban greening and vector risk.
Yeah.
And she already had collected mosquito data on some parks. So it could be an idea to start. I mean, I think she had 3 or 4 sites in the city, so could be an idea to start.
Yeah.
So as a project, indeed, we're familiar with the work of Colombine and with the team in Montpellier. We've been having workshops and meetings to discuss the data that are already there, and then also to see, like, okay, what data is what do we still want to collect? One thing that I want to add, maybe also a little bit to the presentation of Laura, is that, I mean, yes, we're particularly interested in these nature-based solutions and the green and the blue. One element of the sampling will focus on the public versus the private space, because there are certain species of mosquitoes, especially, that are sort of known to be able to also inhabit small water-holding bodies, rain barrels, bird ponds, or bird baths, and so forth. So that's often the question that we are getting, like, okay, where are most of the mosquitoes coming from? Is it now, can we point our fingers at the bioswale or the park with the pond that is in front of our street, or is it actually ourselves that are producing our mosquitoes, or is it maybe both equally? Because that has, of course, implications for the management that we or the management suggestions that we want to do. Do we focus that on the public space, or will it be directed to citizens and more on the private space? So that's also an element that's part of the questions that we'll have.
Yeah, and we need to visit. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, from previous, because not a lot is known, of course. So we made a long list of nature-based solutions that could possible be a health risk. And maybe just go through them. Bioswales, as already mentioned, there are some green roofs that have water a couple of days. So gutters of a roof, but also gully pots. In a bioswale, you also have gully pots. So there's blue roofs. I don't think you have them in Montpellier, but it's just basically rainwater harvesting on roofs. So it's like a rain barrel, which of course is also on the list. Then you have ponds, retention ponds in the urban area. Then there are the planters, so that's mostly on private space, as the rain barrels, for example, that you can find them. Then there's rainwater harvesting and other types, but I don't think we can focus on the rain barrels. There are rain gardens, so that's similar to bioswales, but sometimes with a better drainage. And then last but not least, constructed wetlands. So constructed wetlands, of course, hold water. So that was a bit of the list, just to give you an idea. But I think what is most important during the Climate Cafe is that we go out, and also with the experience from, I'm a civil engineer, nature-based solutions, from you, to see where you think what kind of nature-based solutions we should map. But this is already a long list checked that could form interest. And if we find them in Montpellier and see that there are no mosquitoes, that's also a great result, of course. It is finding out. There's no great research that shows it's only about rain barrels, what a lot of people think. And of course, there have been mosquitoes in bioswales, but most of the bioswales are empty or biofiltration within 2 days, and a mosquito needs 7 days or more. So from that point of view, you could say bioswales are not a threat, but bioswales also have gully pots. And there's permanent water in them, and of course also mosquitoes. So I think that's also part of the research. Yeah.
Well, it depends on what. Excuse me, I didn't raise my hands.
Go.
But it depends. Yeah. It depends on the species that you're talking about. You know, with the tiger mosquito, we are very much here in south of France. Is very domestic and breeds in very tiny water collections. One of our findings, for example, is that one of the most productive tiger mosquito production sites in the public space are buried cable boxes. So I don't know if you have this in the Netherlands, but it's underground cable boxes, communication cables, where when it rains, the water comes in, and then it's like. You can see that from the ground. It's not buried very far. It's not hermetic. The mosquito can get in. They lay their eggs there, and then it's really reactors for this kind of mosquito, which is completely different from the breeding sites that you will have for culex, for example, that you have more in the Netherlands. So there are also this has nothing to do, I guess, with nature-based solutions, but we should be careful not to do the amalgamos between nature-based solution as a mosquito breeding thing. But it's not only about production of mosquitoes. When they are produced, they need to rest, and we also show that when they come out from these watery things, they like to rest in more vegetation. More vegetated area because of the microclimate. So there might be, two different things also. So I guess this will also be helpful to change environment, to come from the Netherlands to Montpellier, to uncover all this complexity in the mosquito and their link to the environment.
Indeed. Yeah. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, I already see some cultural differences and differences in the cables and everything, because I thought we were gonna go on a bike, but it's a bit different.
Well,
And it's
we
really
have
a
bike,
Dutch approach.
we have
Yeah,
free bikes in Montpellier, you know.
great.
So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can
So
use bikes.
someday, but so I think we should make a detailed program on what we're looking for, and indeed, cable gutters are one of them. Yeah, indeed, and there's probably more. So I think this is also the first session to get to know each other, see what kind of information there is. I think the next step is to make a long list of things that we are looking for, because also
not stick. Biodiversity is a very good. I mean, that's the way that we were in contact, but we might also within the Climate Cafe go over biodiversity, which is very straightforward in its objectives. But for Montpellier, I guess that would be also helpful to have a mapping of the NbS as you understand it from the Climate Cafe, not directly linked to mosquito biology. This is the basis of the thing, but we can expand more around that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, David. David, maybe you have something, because David is the guy from the Montpellier area, much more on and the management of the city and all these things than on vector biology, I guess. But maybe there's an interest for Montpellier to link to this initiative with other aims than just mapping something that is important for mosquito biology.
Yes, hi everybody. So I'm David Gomis. I'm veterinarian and working in the city of Montpellier, but I work for the city and the metropolis. This means that we are 31 cities surrounding Montpellier, so it's a big area. And we have a consortium with researchers for trying to putting data together, as Paul just explained to you. And the idea is to take the public stakeholders as early as possible in the discussion, because we notice that the most relevant research programs or project that we have is when we try to discuss together since the beginning, to co-construct the questions and then the data and then the decisions, and then it's more easy, in fact, to give the recommendation to the public stakeholders. So the idea for us, at least in Montpellier, is to try to participate since the beginning and have, we have in March next year the city council elections. So we the change in France, in all the cities in France. But we hope that we will continue and able to participate to this kind of project. So the idea is try to link also the projects between them, because we have all other projects on nature-based solutions. And the problem is always the same, that we participate to big or small projects, and we have a lot of data, but this data is not put together, and this data is not translated for the decision makers. So we try to put this data with Paul together to translate it from the research and from the scientific point of view to the public decision makers, and then to start and continue talking together. So we have all other projects and to try to make links.
Nice. Yeah, it's a great help.
So Sander already told that at some point you also have the wish to put all the stakeholders in the room and translate and try to construct. So I hope we will be able to do it.
Nice. Yeah, thumbs up from Sander. That's very important. Yeah. Yeah, great. So then, we still have about 12 minutes. Any more from Montpellier that you want to share?
I prepared just some graphic about the temperature and the climate.
Yeah, that would be very nice to see.
If you want to show it. I can share my screen if I can.
That will be good. And then probably last we go to Thomas. He already found some nature-based solution, and that is also seeing what is already out there or where we're looking for.
Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Is it good like that?
Yeah, it's not present mode, but I think everybody can see it. So yeah.
So just not a recent data, just to see, to make you an idea of the temperature and the rainfall in Montpellier.
Nice. So one question we might be, so we're doing the field climate cafe in October. Is that the best period, temperature wise, and maybe,
yes,
and I'm not talking about weather, but mosquitoes.
It could be a period with a lot of rain, as you see here.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah.
But more and more warmer and warmer every year in October. So it's still like Indian summer, you know?
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
So it's a good time for mosquitoes, at least. That's for sure.
Don't be surprised indeed. Last year also in the botanical garden just to be attacked by tiger mosquitoes there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's the reason where we're going.
Yeah.
So that's a good period. Yeah.
But
nice.
they still disappear. They still disappear for several months in winter. The winter are still a bit cold. Let's say December, January, February, until March. You don't have very much life there. It's quite cold, and then the rest of the year you have mosquitoes and densities.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. So, and they always say that this is the climate we're going to have in 20 or 50 years, right? So this is looking in the future for all the Dutch people here. Shall we go to Thomas? Thomas, you did some mapping.
Yeah.
And what did you find? Can you show us something?
You asked me to come to Montpellier. And Frederick is telling about the tiger mosquitoes. I'm not so sure if I want to come in October. No, no problem.
You need, of course.
Of course, I'm coming. At first, I'm not a scientist, but I'm a civil engineer, and I love climate adaptational measures. And I observe in a very different way. I don't know anything about mosquitoes, but I know the breeding conditions a little. I don't know anything about Montpellier, so I had to do a little survey on my own. And I've learned about, I think if I pronounce it right, the episode 7, the autumn heavy rainfalls in Montpellier area. And climate change is making them worse, more intensive and frequent. So I'm curious of how you adapt to that. So I was looking in Montpellier area, and I was looking at the water bodies in the city, and I just focused on one, and that's the I think Ruisseau Lironde, and so I started following it. Where does it start and where does it end and where does it touch the city? And I found out you're very busy in this area with a lot of development, and I found this drawing. So this is nature-based solution to me. And here's water, and sometimes not. And I don't know, I was triggered by the story about the underground boxes. How do you implement them in new situations, and how do they connect with nature-based solutions? So I found this area here. It's called Parc Marianne, and I think it's developed now for 13 years, and this is very nature-based. But further on, if you follow La Lironde, it goes into concrete, goes into grass, it goes into concrete again. And if you follow it, you see lots of places where water can stay for a long time. And also in urban areas where they can breed. And I don't know if there's any policy on that. But this is a focus area for me, where you make new constructions and a catchment area in the park, but it's also a possible risk zone for me, as far as I can see. And there are several more things, but because if the climate changes, the flow of the Le river is changing. On the banks, maybe some interesting places will start to evolve if the climate change. And I also looked into man-made ponds on the highway. These are all new ponds, maybe risk zones in close to urban areas. So I don't know if you have policy for that or health risks. I don't know how you do it, but this is a small survey I did on new areas, and I could not find directly on the old city. I could not find things on the old city, but I think when we are there and I do a bit of more desk research, I will find some interesting places to look into.
Yeah. There is also currently an effort in Montpellier to destroy some concrete and green some places, maybe in the center of the city. The center of the city, the old city, is very, very concrete indeed. There's not very much green inside. But it's evolving. They are transforming the city. They are greening the city very much. So there are these spaces where indeed the city is growing. What you showed close to the highway, and there might be some opportunities to see how they cope with these new risks. And there are other places where it's very concrete, but it's becoming more green. And we are monitoring some of these spaces, especially schools that, it was very concrete, and they destroy the concrete and they plant some trees in the schools. And there are some groups here in Montpellier that are monitoring the air quality in these specific green schools, let's say, what they call it, cool schools. And then we also monitor the different changes in mosquito densities in these very specific areas. So this is very small. This might appear as very concrete if you have a photo map from last year, for example, but it turns out now to be really changing. And that's maybe one of the spots where you would like to go, one of these schools, or these kind of things, at a smaller scale than what you were able to identify through the scan that you've done. But indeed, we can also go in these places where something big is happening.
Yeah, because those are the next steps. We have a map underlaying already with green and rivers. That's major, and then zoom in. Some major developments, for example. Also, the city is being mentioned. And I think a good point that Sander raised is also the private gardens. That's mostly overlooked. And that's something that... especially if you work with municipalities, they're talking about the public space. Also, ClimateScan gives the opportunity to use citizen science to also share what is on their private ground. And Frederick, you mentioned schools. That would be private ground or public? Schools.
Huh?
If you do school gardens or that
Public.
might
It's
be
public. It's
The
public.
3-1
public.
app.
Okay.
It's public.
All right. Yeah, in the Netherlands, that's sometimes public and private. Yeah, nice. Yeah, we're closely
I
going.
guess there are private schools also in Montpellier, but those that I was talking about are public, and there's a lot of public schools.
Yeah, okay, and so that's also public space, indeed. Yeah, that's what I meant, because companies, citizens, houses, those are private spaces, and sometimes they're overlooked in research. So yeah.
So
But within the project of Colombine, we worked in a private garden. We go in different kind of district with a lot of private garden, and we have a lot of data on the, and also with another project on private garden like that.
Nice, yeah, because you need permission sometimes to go in there, so that makes it a difference. So it's 5:30. We still have to program a bit of Barcelona. I can do that quickly, or do we still have energy? Shall I show slides not more than 5 minutes, and then we round up? I think we already have a great session in the sense of getting to know the project, getting to know each other, and also the next task. Let me see. I will do it a bit faster, and just as what we can find from other projects. So as been said, Barcelona is also one of the cities. Write this a bit. Yes, I think we're on a go. So engaging stakeholders. This is what about with the project. Montpellier we talked about. Also Barcelona will be next, and in Barcelona there's a bit more info. This is Barcelona. This was a climate cafe, 2-day climate cafe. Basically only with 3 persons. This is Mark, it was me and also a student, and we went all over Barcelona to see green infrastructure. And you have to see bioswales or rain gardens, and basically there was a concern. This is more about drought and heat, by the way, but we wanted to map everything which is already out there. And most of the things we saw, what was related to water, heat, and also nature. Those are the main categories. And this is ClimateScan. So it's all open source, and you can visit the different locations. So if you zoom in a bit, you can see what is related now. Mostly water-related topics are being highlighted on the map. And of course, it was a great treat to cycle away through Barcelona and see all these different green infrastructure. This is probably not really for this for Montpellier, but we also looked at green facades, mostly related to biodiversity and heat. Also these green walls. They don't always look very nice, as you can see as well, but sometimes they also retain water, as also green roofs, as I mentioned, also blue roofs. So sometimes other structures, like you have green tram tracks in Barcelona, basically in a lot of cities, they also could hold water and could be considered as nature-based solutions here. It's really transforming the city of Barcelona. A lot of these green parks, which are lower, you can see this from the signs, where in wet periods there is water for a longer period. So there was a bit of a risk or interest of Mark, in this case from Barcelona, a great guy, really enthusiastic. He took me to all these places. It was very dry in that period, but we took some tests also to see how fast the water would drain from these locations. But the main interest was to map these locations also as polygons, so you know how big they are and also how they are regarded. So we took a lot of videos, a lot of testing, of course, in this case also. What we found is also, this is quite, you could call it a cable gutter. This might be dry in a couple of days, but most these gutters or gully pots or shafts, you can find mosquitoes. And in this case, it was actually very open as well. So that's one of the things we try to look at in Montpellier as well. Large dimensions of rain gardens, we call this mostly because it's the steep slopes in this case. These contain sometimes water for a longer period. But as I said, we selected also some measures for testing. Here you see the polygons also on ClimateScan, where we did some measurements to see what the hydroconductivity of that soil is. So basically a very simple test is an infiltrometer test. You have a measurement device and you fill it up with water and you see how fast it would go. It's an indication of water. And of course, if it doesn't infiltrate, that's an indication that there might be nuisance for mosquitoes in wet periods. So we did that test on a lot of premises. That data is also on ClimateScan. So very simple test, as you can see here. I go quite fast. Infiltration capacities were quite fast. So that means that within a couple of hours or one day, the infiltration capacity, the whole storage should be empty. There's only one thing in wet periods, also in Montpellier. It's not the same value in a dry period and is in the wet period. So the infiltration capacity goes down. So that means that the first time you do the test, maybe it's 1 meter a day, but then the second time it might be half a meter a day, and it goes on and on to maybe 0.1 meter a day. And in wet period, that could be a problem. But in Barcelona, from this part, it was not considered to be risk for mosquitoes. So, and that might be an approach that we can also apply on Montpellier. And this is the last slide. Mark and Barcelona did a ClimateCafe like we did here. We taped it, of course, so I will share that in the chat if you want to see more of this part. And then I will think that was below 5 minutes. I see happy faces, so that might be the face. Yeah.
Don't forget to breathe, Floris.
Exactly. Yeah, there was one line. So I think there's a lot said, but maybe a last comment or maybe something that was not addressed. And we will have a second session before we go in the field. So, but maybe everybody tired? Want to get some dinner?
Well, maybe thanks, Floris, on our behalf for establishing this also connection when we approach you, and it's interesting to see what comes out of it, and already see so many people on board. People from Spain, Morocco, Barcelona have also attended, and I'm really looking forward to the actual ClimateCafe, to be there. And it's what I was just discussing this with Tessa. It's nice to see, like, with what eye you are looking into the city, like the civil engineer eye, and there's definitely a lot of for us to learn from that, and I'm looking forward to taking more action on it. Thanks.
Nice. Yeah, and the other way around as well. As Thomas also said, it would be great to go fishing for mosquitoes with you and see how you look at the urban area and the risk, and with all of you, of course. So with that said,
special thanks also to the colleagues that have joined from Montpellier, because I really appreciate that they have joined this and then contributed in various ways. So it was really nice to see all that.
Absolutely, yeah, and you get a lot of thumbs up and smiles, so I think that's well appreciated, Sander. So we know about the project. We know some information already on Montpellier, what's there. You know more or less what we're looking for. We also have some homework to make a list of what we specifically look for, and cable gutters will be on that list, for example, so that's already a great outcome. And then we can start mapping as well. We have another session where we go more in detail before we go in the field, the 14th of October. It would be great if you see something or in the next weeks, share it with the project group, of course, Sander or Laura, and so we can put it on a map. And I think 14th of October, the map is already filled, so we have more an idea of what we're gonna go for, what we're going to visit in the field. So, as been said, this is Climate Cafe, so everybody can join. You don't have to go to Montpellier. You can always do this online. And I think this recording will help as an introduction for that. So, yeah, enough said, Sydney. Shall we close off?
Yeah, we should close off. Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm going to do a short talk about what we're going to do next week. We're going to talk about what we're going to talk about the next year. We have 2 other big programs, 30 cities and sparkles, and we're going to just talk about those programs and maybe other interesting topics like we talked today for the next year.
Nice.
So, see you 10th of October, 14th of October, or maybe next week.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bedankt. Thanks. Bye.
Doei.
Ik moet weer wat verliezen.